Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Idle Angels video. And as you can see from the title, yes, the PvE is already done on my account. I managed to finish it. So if I try to fight the battles, it says, congratulations, you have reached the highest level. Stay tuned for future updates. So now that I have completely managed to beat out the PvE and get all the overview of what the stages are like, what happened, what is good, what is bad. So now I feel more confident in making this video. I for sure was confident like when I reached around stage 130, but I definitely wanted to finish out PvE in order to make sure that I have some credibility in speaking out what I built for my lineup, how it all went, and to kind of give you some insights on my journey, how it started, and now that I have finished the PvE. For the past 2 days, I was hardly trying to push the PvE because it takes actually quite a lot of time, even for an idle game, to complete all of the stages. So that's why the past 2 days there were no videos, because I wanted to push the normal the main story. And then of course on Nightmare I managed to push to 5420. Of course it's not the end for Nightmare. I have 10 more stages to do on Nightmare, and once I clear those 10 stages on Nightmare, it will be over for me as well. But the thing with Nightmare is that I already get the highest possible gear from the Nightmare, which is the 365 level. You unlock that on 5415. So by all means, I'm already getting the highest possible gear onto my angels. So it doesn't matter when I'm going to be finishing the Nightmare. Main reason why I cannot finish Nightmare is because it takes quite a lot of death evasion or quite a lot of supports in order to beat out the boss, because as you can see, the skills of the boss ramps up a lot. So we have quite a lot of AoE on the boss. We have a curse that is lowering my attack, my critical damage, everything. We have another curse that is lowering true damage and attack in general. We have another curse that is dealing a lot of damage, and on top of that there is a debuff that lowers the energy that my angels are recovering. So it is quite hard to complete the Nightmare for now. But in short, how it went for the Nightmare, if I'm not mistaken, I managed to reach stage 51 without using a secondary DPS. So without Perseus, I was using on one of the teams Lucifer, and on another team I was using the MC as DPS. Also, I was strategizing in between using Sim for one of the two teams with Uriel in terms of death evasion, and then the other team was Jean with Horus. Sometimes I would swap, but I would make sure that there are two angels that can provide the death evasion. And also on top of that, for the Nightmare, every single angel that I use, I go to the UR plus power-ups over here, and I definitely put the death evasion if I have the UR plus 5 on them. Why is that important for the Nightmare? Well, it's because it's a 6v6, so there is no reason not to have the angel stay for as long as possible and to buff out your DPS angel. That's why every single angel that I'm using on Nightmare, when I try to push Nightmare, is using the death evasion. Overall, I think this is kind of the topics. Oh, another thing that I forgot to mention, you can see I'm using Hera as incarnation level 3 and UR plus 1. So she is quite unbuilt, and I'm still using Hera, and she is doing wonders for the Nightmare as semi-build. So if you don't have Hera build at all, I am not suggesting to go for her. I do suggest going for the main story first and going for Fuxi. But if you already have finished main story and you are stuck on the Nightmare, then for Nightmare having Hera and Fuxi will be very, very nice. And on top of that, using Hera later on for PvP will be a great addition. Now that I'm done with the PvE, at least for now, I'm probably going to go with Incarnation level 5 on Hera and then build her to MR 1. At least that's kind of my goal, because I already have her UR +1, and the MR 1 will be very, very nice to grab. Of course, MR3 is where I would really want her to be because of the additional 50 energy points in order for her to cast the MR ability. But even as MR1, it will be very nice to do because I have other ways to recover energy for her. In terms of the Nightmare dungeon, I think those are kind of the quick tips that I can give you out. Probably later on I will make a longer video that is only specifically for Nightmare and only specifically for main dungeon. And also I am preparing the kind of ultimate support build, all of the supports that you really need in order to beat the main story. But as I said, this is the lineup that I have been using. As you can see here, moving backwards, the only angel that I have built is the Capricorn that I haven't used in main story since 120th stage, something like that. I stopped using Capricorn, and before that I'm pretty sure you don't need her as well. So Capricorn is definitely not needed for PvE, but I have seen her being used at maximum MR5, ER5 by some of the stronger players in the later stages. So keep in mind, if you have Capricorn, she is useful and can be used into the lineups, but it's way too expensive and you definitely don't need her in order to finish the PvE. Overall, these are kind of the angels that I have. And what I must say is that Hera I haven't used after I got Fuxi. So Hera hasn't found her spot in my main story at all. Uriel I haven't used after stage 120 as well. She hasn't been used at all after that, but she really helped out early on. And another thing is that Aiden, Jean are not 100% necessary for the lineups. What I mean by that is, whenever I was getting stuck on a certain boss stage, I would try to rearrange my supports in a different way and see how much I can deal damage to, how much damage I can deal to the bosses. But whenever I felt really stuck, I would either move Aiden or Jean and put in Pandora on their places. So what I mean by that is there are other opportunities of supports that we can use, like Cancer for now is an amazing support. And on top of Cancer, who can I think of? So Cancer, Pandora can fit nicely. Taurus as well can fit nicely for PvE. So in a way, Jean and Aiden are very useful, but if you have Cancer or Taurus, you could swap those four between themselves in order to see how it is going on and how much damage you do. Also, I have seen people use either Ember or Cupid. I haven't seen a lineup with both being used at the same time. So in my opinion, choose one of the two and use that angel. If you don't have any, Ember Dragon was amazing for me. And the thing that I underestimated the most was Sim. I have had Incarnation power level 5 on Sim for the longest time, but MR1 was kind of truly the thing that unlocked her potential. So if I am to rebuild everything from scratch and to start over again, I would say build a DPS to the maximum, first thing to be done. Then second and third thing would be, in my opinion, Fuxi and Hela. You definitely don't need them fully maxed out. in my opinion, Hela as MR5 will be enough, and then Fuxi as Incarnation level 5 and MR1 will be enough as well. Of course, by saying enough is that you will struggle more if your angels are unbuilt, but having them semi-built will give you the opportunity to have the basics of every single angel and push a bit further rather than missing out, let's say, MR level of Sim, but having Hela maxed out. So, as I said, Hela, Fuxi are a must. The Poseidon Incarnation level 4 isn't a must early on. I think I pushed to stage like 100 without having her at all. So definitely this one can come up later on. Horus UR plus Incarnation level 4 is something really nice that I appreciated a lot. Aidan can be delayed as well. Wrath Incarnation level 4 is a must in my opinion. So if somebody doesn't have her on the lineup, I'm not entirely sure if she can fall into the swap outs between Aidan, Jean, Wrath, Taurus, and Cancer. So I couldn't really test out without Wrath, but in my opinion, she is a must. And then, of course, you will want the MR1 on Sim and the MR1 on Enmo was really nice, and it definitely helped me out to push into the stages where I'm lacking a bit of damage. But I did manage to find some solutions without having the MR1 on Enmo. So in my opinion, this one can be delayed a bit until you build MR3 Wrath and MR1 Sim in order to have enough energy recovery and to have those three play nicely in your lineup. So I am going to now share with you my, here I have put all of the knowledge and the screenshots that I have taken throughout my journey from stage, I don't remember which one it started, but till the last stage, with kind of being sorry to say that you will see probably I have skipped. So I have till stage 9350 and then I jump onto the stage 10150, and from there I cleared till stage 105, and I didn't take any screenshots until stage 140, which I'm very sorry about. But when it came to pushing in those times, I really didn't feel like taking any screenshots, and for some reason I thought that I probably won't need them. So let me kind of show you how the journey went and then share my thoughts onto the later stages with the hopefully the idea that it can help you out how to rotate your angels as well. So this is how it actually all started when I started saving some screenshots on the main lineup. As you can see, I have been using Capricorn as well, but I was also early on using Zhu Rong, and you may ask why. Well, she can dispel the buffs of the bosses. So if you are facing a boss that puts a buff that is reflect damage, for instance, because Lucifer hates reflect damage and she kills herself on it, you could use Zhu Rong early on. Later on, you can actually remove those with Fuxi or with Hera UR plus, but I didn't have UR plus Hera at the time. Now, I had a few screenshots where I was actually making some screenshots of what the bosses skill are being used, and then how do I beat that certain stage. Actually not bosses, but the normal stage between bosses, so between 1 to 50 and 51 to stage 100, what skills the monsters have been using and what lineup I have been using in order to beat it. That was mainly done because I was facing some weaken effects and stuff like that, so I had to rearrange my supports in a certain way. And it was always, if I faced the same skills, I will always face it with the same lineup. So this is kind of the first screenshot that I took on 77-100. And as you can see, it doesn't have any difference between the main lineup that I showed you first. So I'm going to be kind of moving through all of the screenshots, but you can also see the progression. Like over here, we don't have horse at all, right? You don't see horse at all on 77-100. And then boom, horse is UR plus incarnation level 3, and I have managed to beat it up till the stage 79-100. Then 80-50, I'm using the Hela. I'm now having a built up nice rough as well. And slowly I have been pushing stages with the same lineup, only rearranging the supports in a different way in order to, of course, counter the skills of the bosses. What is very, very important to mention, in my opinion, is that you will need to read out the skills early on in order to get a good understanding of what skill the boss uses and when you need the damage reduction, when you need, sorry, the death evasion, and when do you need the power-ups in order for your angel to kill the boss and to clear the stage. The only way to realize that is by watching the fights early on. So what will happen is you will watch the fight and you will see, okay, so if the boss is one-shotting me before my angels can cast their buffs, I need that evasion. If the boss is casting after my buffs and everyone has casted their buff, but I don't have enough damage to kill it and the boss is left on like 20% HP, then you need more damage. Of course, there is sometimes slightly the difference between you are leaving the boss on low HP, but you are still missing the death evasion. But it could be that your death evasion unit is placed wrongly. What I mean by that is, let's say you're using Horus for your death evasion currently. You might have her on the main lineup when your goal is the main lineup between 1 to 5 to get one-shotted instantly, so you can get the second row of angels appear and buff faster. When it comes to the PvE main story, rounds will go up to 3, and that's when you will kind of want to beat the boss. Very, very rarely you will see PvE going up to 10 or 15 rounds. The only way I managed to push to 17 rounds was using Perseus and stacking a lot of death evasion on my main lineup. So it took 17 rounds in order for buffs to rotate to kill the PvE. And in my opinion, it's very, very fast when you go for a easy lower death evasion units in order for them to cast, die, and move on to the next supports to get another buffs. But in general, here you can see the progression onto the 80 stages. I have already built the Hela to MR4, still no Poseidon being used, no Gene with death evasion. Zodiac Rabbit has been used, but as you can see, I have been using Zodiac Rabbit onto the bottom lines, the subs. Also, you can use Zodiac Horse. It's very, very nice. I did not use Zodiac Horse at all on my lineup, but I didn't have her build, so I had no option to test it out. Over here on the 88th stage, I decided that it's time for Uriel in order to give me a bit more death evasion. And here comes the Gene as well with another layer of death evasion. So early on, what I did was I built Hela, I forgot about Hera, and then I was building death evasion, trying to push the furthest. This is what I did. I cannot say for sure which one is the best to build first, but as you can see, this is how it has been happening. Here onto the stage 101. Now my Hela is maxed out. Here is when I was using Capri, and Pandora when I decided that I will go for a maxed Pandora. Keep in mind, Pandora is not a must for PvE. If you have built her for PvP though, you can use her for PvE as well, but you definitely will want the MR5 in order for her to be feeling useful onto the PvE. Then we move stage 103. This is of course way back in the days, and I don't remember much. That's why I'm just kind of skipping through the screenshots. Over here now at stage 104, I have started to build more damage. As you can see, we have the Enmu with Incarnation level 3 for more damage, and Aiden MR5 for even more damage buffs. And this is kind of the last stage that I took a screenshot, 105.50. From here on, I did push more with this layout, but I remember this is also when Fuxi came out to the game. I maxed out Fuxi, swapped out for Hera, and pushed until stage 120, which was kind of before anniversary. And now, here is the 140th stage. This is where I started really pushing out during anniversary. So I did Ember Dragon to Incarnation level 5. I did get Sim MR1 and Enmu to Incarnation level 5. This is kind of the big lineup that I have been using. And since stage 140, I have been pushing with the same angels. But you can see that I have been swapping out Perseus and Lucifer on and off onto the different stages. So for instance, these were 150 stage, I used Lucifer, 151 I'm using Perseus, then I get back to Lucy again for 3 stages, and here comes Perseus, here comes Lucy. So it depended on what I am facing. I was using either Lucifer or Perseus, with having to say that Lucifer, I had no gear on her. So now I'm going to be showing you all my angels, what they have equipped. But in general, my Lucifer has nothing on, and I will explain why. As you can see, no gear on her, no gem, no training at all. She is completely stripped out. The only thing that I have is a maxed out relic, and I have a maxed out affinity, and then we have the fate whenever she is put into the lineup. Why is my Lucifer without any gear? So there is something that is called a curse, and on main story, the curse, what it does is it gets your highest attack angel and it decurses it so badly that you will be dealing 0 damage. Kind of like the Uriel curse. So the reason is I have enough supports that whenever they buff out Lucifer, it will deal enough damage in order to clear out the stage. That's why I strip out Lucifer completely without any items, and then the curse will most likely go onto the Hera, onto the Fuxi or Hera if you have a built out Hera. Why? Because usually they are the highest attack angel after your DPS, and they will even buff more with attack. In that way, I am shifting the curse in order to deal damage with my DPS. I'm shifting the curse to a support that is continually buffing up my DPS, and at a certain point my DPS just becomes way stronger and actually is able to cast and kill the boss. In order to do that, if you don't have 2 different DPSs, what I also tried is on some stages I just went into the Perseus and I will just remove the sword. As you can see, you remove the sword and the attack drops by a mile. So you lose quite a lot of stats. Yes, you can keep everything else most likely, but this is something you can try onto the early stages and tell me if it works for you or if it doesn't. It is quite tricky to do, but it was fun to use. And another quick tip that I can give is on the main dungeon, on the angels that you can use death evasion, most of the times you really would like to not have it. So what I will do is I will go to Hela and I will just swap it out for this one that deals true damage equal to 10% of the angel's max HP. So this was kind of the thing that helped me out in order to finish PvE. As you can see, I haven't collected my rewards since the start of anniversary. I decided not to collect them because I wanted to see from which point I have started the climb. So it was quite a lot of time. It took a lot of time to finish. It took me 15 months of game time to do it. And in terms of money, I am VIP 11. So 15 months VIP 11. Keep in mind that the amount of money that I have spent is around $180, but the last 50 shouldn't really count because they happened after I built all of these supports. So I haven't used the blue scrolls that I have bought or the benefits that I have gotten. And also I did buy UR plus Icarus when I started. So I would say that the beneficial amount of money is around probably 100 to 120 dollars, which in a way should mean that as a free-to-play player, you can beat out PvE, and it will take you approximately 15 to 17 months, in my opinion. Why do I say that? It's because right now, I think this is the ultimate team composition that you can get in order to beat the PvE stages. And on top of that, we are getting new MR-based angels. So for instance, maybe if you skip out the Aiden and you don't get MR5 Incarnation level 3 Aiden and you swap it out for Cancer, that is MR1 Incarnation level 3, this is way less blue scrolls needed, and she will be really nice. She will have a nice opportunity to shine on your team. So sadly, I cannot retry every stage with different angels in order to say which angels can be completely skipped in that regard, to tell you, yes, build only these 12 angels and you're definitely finishing the PvE. But I do hope with my showcase, it was easy to understand what happened, how it happened, how much time it took. Also, when it comes to the gems, I was using Void Shadow on all of them with the exception of 2 nature gems. So I had a nature gem on Hela, which was level 1 nature gem, and then nature gem was again on Rough, stage level 2. These were the 2 different gems, and I'm not sure if, yeah, Ember Dragon, I was using Ember without even having a Void gem, which is additional 3% more damage, which it could have helped probably on some stages where the bosses were left on 5% or so. But as you can see, it is a very difficult task. You just need to stay consistent, and I'm sure that you will be able to clear the PvE as well. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to put them down in the comments. I'm sorry that the video took so long, actually 27 minutes. I'm surprised it took so long to talk about it, but I'm really happy. I'm done with PvE for now, and I think it's time that I save all of my blues in order to be able to test angels properly into the future, so I can give you better insights on whatever comes out next. Once again, guys, I do like to thank you all for showing your support and being one of the best amazing communities that I've ever seen. With that said, if you need help, reach out to me on Discord or in the comments, send some screenshots, and I will definitely try to help you out how to beat the stages on your own as well. But of course, stay awesome, guys, and hopefully I'll see you on the next video.